The big W himself, Walt Mossberg is here on set. It's so good that you're actually here in person. We really appreciate it. And you have something very special, even more special than you, in your hands.
Well, the most special thing is being on set, Simon. That's the most special thing. But this is the new iPad, no number, the new no number iPad.
The new no number.
But it's the third generation. It goes on sale tomorrow, I think at 8 a.m. or something. They're opening.
And there's none left already.
There's none left already. No, there'll be some in the stores. They always hold some for the stores. And if I take the cover off, you can see it looks pretty much like the iPad 2. It's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit heavier because they needed a bigger battery.
Can you pass it to me and
but
I can hold it up to the camera?
But it has a screen that has 4 times the resolution in pixels and 1 million more pixels than an HD TV.
1 million more pixels than...
So that is, I called it spectacular. I think it is the best screen easily that I've ever seen on a mobile device.
You're also impressed with the battery life.
Right. So that screen takes a lot more backlighting and other things to drive. This also has 4G cellular, which is a classic drainer of batteries, and they have managed to retain their amazing battery life on this of about 10 hours between charges.
You had WSJ Live on here, and I can't find it
It's on the front screen. Just hit the home button over on the left.
Okay, and I want to... because
on the lower right. There it is.
There it is, okay. Because this is not on the Wi-Fi, but we're going to show how fast the video goes through just the 3G.
Right, it depends on how good
is.
Verizon's LTE is in this building. In my tests, it averaged 17 megabits a second down, which is faster than the average American's wired connection in her home.
So for consumers that are a little bit confused about 4G, what it is, how it works, and how they get it.
There you are.
There we are.
There we are.
So
It's kind of meta here.
It's very meta here. There we are on that, and that's going on. And
that's on cellular. There's no Wi-Fi going on here.
So there's a slight delay on here. I'm gonna turn that off because I think that could confuse us. But that's how fast that is. That was the
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
Right, so you were saying something about 4G?
Oh, just about 4G. So for consumers that maybe are a little bit confused about whether or not 4G actually is that much faster, how do they get the 4G?
Each carrier uses a different term, 4G. This is the real deal that Apple is using here. Verizon and AT&T, it's called LTE, in my opinion, in the United States today, and there are technical people who tell you even that isn't real 4G, but it's unbelievably fast. And so of the 4G flavors you could get here in the US, LTE is the one, and the one that I consider real, and it's built into this as an option. You can buy a plain Wi-Fi one, but if you want for the same, they haven't changed any of the pricing. Same additional price for cellular on here up front, and same monthly fees.
So is this the top of the line model with everything, all everything?
This
so
is
how much is this one?
That one is about $829.
Oh, so that's the most you can pay.
Because it's 64 gigabytes of
64
storage.
gigabytes, WSJ Live, preloaded, I hope, and it's got not preloaded, but it's very easy to load down, and that has 4G LTE.
And this one happens to be Verizon 4G LTE.
So with that 4G LTE, you said the data plans are the same. Do you suck the data? Do you suck through the data plan much faster because of that?
I've only had it for 5 days, so it isn't clear to me yet. But I think there's a good possibility you would, because you're on LTE. It's faster, so you treat it like you're home on your Wi-Fi, and you don't treat it like, oh, I have this slow cellular connection. So yeah, Simon, I think there's a good chance you might go through the limits faster.
I want to ask you about the voice-to-text function here.
Yeah.
Because I think when this was first announced, there were some media people and tech pundits that said, oh, it's like Siri, but on the iPad, but it's not quite the same, is it?
No, it's just dictation. Android devices have it. iPhones have had it. It works on here quite well. I can show it to you. There's a microphone on the keyboard. You hit the keyboard. Hit the microphone. You get this icon. Hi, Lauren, period. This is Walt, period. Let's go get a cup of coffee after digits, period.
How about would it pick up digits? Is the greatest fun I've ever had today?
Well, let's try that.
Spot on.
We're going to try that. Yeah, that was there were a couple of typos, but not many. So what do you want me to say?
Digits was the greatest fun I had today.
Wait, let me start it again. Digits was the greatest fun I've had today.
Was that just perfect?
You know what it did?
It says.
It says digits was the greatest fun iPad today.
Well, okay.
So that's probably
That's a little
hardwired
partial.
in there.
It's a bit hardwired. That's a bit
They
hardwired.
put iPad into every phrase. That's probably what it,
Well, you got to like the product placement with that. That is just fantastic. Anything else about it? Anything you didn't like? What
well, it's a little bit thicker. It's a
Okay.
little bit heavier. But I thought those were not big problems. Really, I can't say there was anything big I didn't like. The camera's improved. I loved the pictures I was able to take with it and the videos I was able to take with it. It's just, look, Simon, here's the thing. There were people wanting holograms to sprout out of it and, a whole redesign of it and have it fold up, and we'll get all those things eventually, but
Will it microwave your food for you? That's what I want to know.
Not yet. They took the two biggest things in here, which are the display. I mean, a tablet is basically a flat window, and the internet connectivity, the cellular connectivity, and they dramatically, not just in a minor way, dramatically improved both of those things. So they didn't change 100 things, but the ones they did dramatically, and they kept the battery life while doing it.
So what is the battery life now?
It's in my test, it was 9 hours and 58 minutes. That's a very harsh test. Their claim is up to 10 hours, so 2 minutes.
See, that is almost as long as Lauren works in a day. 9 hours and 58
Well,
minutes. Not quite,
Just
though.
always
I have to
working.
say that Lauren shouldn't be quitting at 10 hours. She should keep going.
I should go longer than the iPad.
Longer than the
My
iPad.
question is this:
Lauren, good. Harder working than the iPad.
I think Apple should use that. You heard it from Walt.
Yeah, what was your question?
If consumers have not yet taken the plunge and bought an iPad, or they said, I don't need a tablet, is this the one they should go with? Keeping in mind that the iPad 2 is now at a reduced price.
Yeah, keeping that in mind, well, of course, I can't speak for everybody's budget. If you're on a constrained budget, the iPad 2 is still a great device. In fact, in my column, I said most iPad 2 owners shouldn't feel they have to rush to get this. Even though when you put them side by side, the screen is much better. But if you're on if you're not budget constrained, this is the one you want to get.
If you're in the 1%, this is the one.
This is by far the best tablet on the market.
Great. So Apple shares at $600, and we got the chart there. Well, they were at $600 earlier. What do you make of that?
Well, I guess more people want to buy them than sell them. I don't know, but I will tell you that even that number we saw on the screen, which was like $590, if you sold one of those shares, you could buy yourself an iPad.
Great last comment there. We have to leave it there. It's always a pleasure. The big W himself, Walt Mossberg. Thank you very much.